Pam always hosted the Wednesday night book club. Her little house, layered with the scents of lavender and lemon polish, was the type of place where neighborhood women felt at ease, shedding their anxieties with their shoes in the entryway. That night, as shadows played across the living room, there were 7 of them, laughter bubbling as Merlot flowed freely, and the last slivers of daylight slipped through thin curtains. As always, Pam sat at the head of the circle, her eyes trailing just behind smiles, collecting glances and nervous ticks, none of them thought to hide. Conversation shifted to false fears, the true crime stories they loved, the latest news about burglars, husbands traveling for work. Over second glasses, Pam began to speak, her voice so low the women leaned in, wine glasses trembling on their knees. "There's someone watching me," she whispered. "The police don't believe me, but I've seen him, lurking in the backyard, late at night. Sometimes, he just stands in the shadow of the oak, watching the house." A nervous giggle, an attempt to dispel the chill that crept in. Only Susan pressed her lips together, frowning at the window, as if expecting to see a face. Pam studied them carefully, the lines around her mouth deepening. "If anything ever happens to me, you'll know who did it," she said. "We were warned. When the storm hit, it was so sudden that the lights died before anyone could finish their next sip. Glass shattered, a noise too sharp, too close, and someone screamed. In the darkness, panic splintered the room. Pam's voice cut through, commanding and cold. Stay together." But someone bolted for the kitchen, the others calling after her, stumbling over ottomans and each other. A kitchen knife glinted, lightning illuminating a pale face. Screams were muffled by thunder, shouts dissolved into pleading. Instead of unity, fear made them easy prey, fumbling, desperate, blind in the pitch dark, as one by one, their shapes slumped where they stood. By midnight, silence reigned, broken only by the patter of rain and Pam's careful breathing. She worked methodically, arranging the bodies in a tableau, spilled wine, scattered books, an overturned chair. She donned the gloves and set the scene with details, mouthing a story only she would recall. A man's damp footprints, smeared across the linoleum she'd cleaned that morning. A dark strand of hair on the doorknob, muddy scratch marks at the back window. When the police arrived, Pam was curled in a corner, with blood on her hands, her own cheek artfully grazed. Her voice trembled, the picture of frail panic. "He was here," she gasped, describing a face drawn from all the true crime novels she'd read. "He waited until the storm started. He wanted me to watch." The whole neighborhood turned out for the funerals, their faces pale and grieving. Pam wept with them, her trembling fingers brushing tears from fragile cheeks. On the night she buried the last glass of wine in her backyard, her final secret, she saw, just for a moment, a twitch in the curtain across the street. A new neighbor, perhaps, or maybe a face she'd never noticed, half-shadowed. As she turned away from the window, she wondered, for the first time, if her fictional stalker might already be writing his own story, watching her, waiting for her to lower her guard. The next night, she noticed deep footprints pressed into her flower bed, too large to be her own. That, she told herself with a nervous smile clipped to her lips, was her imagination. But when the phone rang, long after midnight, and no one answered, when the lavender scent seemed to sour in the darkness, Pam finally understood fear of her own making, inescapable and close as breath.